freezing cold. I'm going to read a statement from Paul Madden. He's now a graduate student at the Lynch School of Education, but he did his undergrad here, and he had some words for us that he wanted to share, but he couldn't be here. He writes, in 2004 and 2007, there were protests just like the one here today. Incredibly and unfortunately, the students protesting then were advocating for the same issues everyone is bringing to the forefront today. I told them what we were going to talk about, so. You have many allies at Boston College, including many members of the faculty and staff. But as you know, these issues are not just interpersonal. They are systemic. Systemic enough that regardless of who is admitted and what new progressive faculty and staff we hire, given the issues you are advocating here, my experience tells me that things have not changed. Many of you are scared. I understand that. I was scared too. Honestly, sometimes I still am. Sometimes when you engage in activism on campus, adults will politely pull you aside and let you know that you shouldn't let your grades slip. Other times, some adults will question your leadership and commitment to the student organization that they fund with your money. Other times, other adults will tell you relatively bluntly that what you are doing is incendiary, irresponsible, and incompatible with the school's mission. Well, it seems to me that the fact that folks are protesting the same issues today as they were 10 years ago is incendiary, irresponsible, and incompatible with the school's mission. That school's mission, BC's mission, Curis Personalis, care of the whole person. Given the testimony you have already heard from your fellow students, do you think that everyone's whole person is being cared for? No! Again, there are tremendously caring and loving adults on this campus, but let us not forget that they also told us, in the words of St. Ignatius himself, to go set the world aflame. Boston College counts on you graduating. Fight right now. I love you all.
Thank you for all the people who have stayed so long. There's just final 5-minute thing. Okay, so Syracuse University had just staged a 11-day sit-in, 18-day sit-in. Where? Somewhere on campus to demand change on campus. So we've gotten in touch with the beautiful alliance that's called the General Body at Syracuse University, and they have written us a statement that I want to read to you all. Hello, my name is Colton Jones, and I am a student at Syracuse University and a proud member of the General Body. Sadly, I cannot physically be with you in your place today, but myself and so many other members stand with you in spirit. The fight that you are fighting, the fight that we all are fighting, is our generation's dilemma. Our ancestors fought for our basic human rights, for equality amongst all people, whether they are persons of color, women, members of the LGBTQ community, or exploited laborers. Our fight is far from over, but our generation will see it through. Of this I am certain. People are mobilizing across the planet. No longer are we sitting back and letting injustice occur. I ask you all to look to your left and right. Make eye contact with your fellow human being. Hug each other if you will. This is the time where you hug each other. But know that the person beside you, no matter how many differences you share, will stand with you throughout this process. We must continue to support one another, for the oppressor's strongest weapon against us is the illusion of separation, keeping us divided and distracted. Our power comes from looking at climate change, racism, gender inequality, mental health issues, sexual rights, and a multitude of other issues as not separate or isolated from one another, but products of a system that has failed us far too many times. I ask you all to open up your minds and hearts to each other's struggles, though they may not be your own lived experiences. Martin Luther King reminds us that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Yes. Remember, family, we're all just walking each other home, and we owe it not only to ourselves, but to future generations to figure this mess out. To create a planet that is sustainable, a planet which rids itself of racism, sexism, ableism, and speciesism. It's a hard word. The General Body has many hints and tips for occupation, just in case. Wink face. But realistically, please do not hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions. I know none of you personally, but I love you all regardless. I wish you well. Be strong, be aware, be resilient, be free in solidarity. Okay, and then you have to hear my voice again. To conclude this, real quick, I want to tell you a little story. Last February, Bobby, who you just heard from, and I met with Father Leahy to discuss the fossil fuel divestment case. And at some point during the meeting, Father Leahy looked at me and said, "Sissi, I applaud and admire your idealism. However, idealism is going to lead to frustration, and frustration might lead to depression. I'm worried about you." So at that time I was just like, what? Who are you? So I was just like, don't worry, I'll be fine, thank you. So I believed then that my ideals are not too ideal, that they're unachievable. So I worked for it. I worked towards it. I had my fellow activists, my friends, my climate justice, awesome people who love justice and democracy, fight for it. And today, 10 months later, I can say that I not only believe it, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the start of a movement on campus. Our so-called idealism will be the reality of future when we keep fighting. And that was that. Have a great weekend, everyone.